Today we're going to be talking about investing in green energy stocks, riding the hype, hot sectors, etc. So, listen, we think of like in my 17 years of trading, one of the most recurring themes and recurring sectors has been green energy stocks, solar particularly. We've had some mini, wind turbine runs. We've even had the buoys in the ocean. These themes pop up over and over again. And one thing I do want to talk about, and it's kind of a recurring theme on a lot of these videos, is riding the hype but not becoming a true believer. Okay, some of these green energy stocks through the years have been some of the most epic failures. Okay, you look back at Solyndra and some of these names. They ran up for years and years and years, but then a lot of them were found out to be, sketchy and doing illegal things, all this stuff, and collapsed and died. I think of a great example is Enphase, ENPH. I remember, we had did a swing trade strategy session on that one, and 3-4 years ago, I don't, exactly, but stock was it's a green energy stock and breaking out at $10 a share, multiple time frames, breaking out on the daily, breaking out on the intraday, breaking out on the 2-week, 15-minute, all these time frames, unusual volume. They had a lot of news. There was a lot of talk of green energy. I think it went to $300 a share in not a short period of time, or not a long period of time. Epic swing trade, and so the opportunity is there, but again, very dubious company. BLPH, another one. I mean, there's been so many names through the years, but the reason I talk about this stuff, and the reason I want you to learn this is, even though I'm talking about these stocks reversing and failing, and a lot of them going to zero, getting delisted, if they go from 8 to 400 in the on the front side of the trade, as we say, think about all the opportunity there. And if you know the signs to look for, and to take realistic gains, and not to be a bag holder, how to use trailing stops, how to read the momentum and understand when the hype is failing. I mean, if you know those things, you can take them from 8 to 30, okay, or 8 to 50, or maybe aim for the fences in 8 to 100, and you can sell way before the top, but still make great money. And you can do that because you know what to look for. Something about trading, especially hot sectors, and we're talking hot sector trading here. It's the same stuff. The same stuff comes around. Green energy, probably, I would think, my 17 years. Probably 10 or 12 years, multiple runs in those years, it's been a theme. Not every year, but what is that? 70% of the years I've been trading. Obviously, we think of crypto stocks. We think of medical device stocks. We think of electric vehicle stocks, biotechs always, even weed stocks. I mean, we're actually in the middle of one of the best weed stock runs in years. So these oil stocks, another great example. I mean, these themes come and go. Defense contractors. I mean, there's all these lists. So they repeat. And if you consider yourself a student of the market, and that's what I am, every single day for 17 years, I have shown up and ran scans and took notes and traded and analyzed and went over, journaled, putting in daily work every day. And the reason I'm a firm believer in putting in that daily work every day is you're trying to be a historian. There's nothing new under the sun, nothing new in the stock market. The reason these stocks move what they do is because day traders and short-term traders recognize patterns and recognize historical events. And when all of a sudden your scan's popping off with 16 different green energy stocks and they're all trading unusual volume, and you've been reading the news and you know what's going on in the world, and you see government grants and you see regulation going against oil, which, I mean, we're in the middle of that right now. I mean, there is so much government money flooded into green energy, which many of you that know me, I'm a free market kind of guy, but whatever. They're going to waste it. They're going to tax me more, and they're going to waste it more. I can't seem to do anything about it. But I think that free markets and capitalism should take care of energy. I think that they would find the best sources of energy, probably nuclear. But that aside, if the money's flowing, why not capitalize on it, okay? And we're seeing that right now. Continued regulation against oil. There's an active effort to destroy the oil and gas markets, to destroy oil and gas production. You can probably guess how I feel about that, but whatever, and push towards green energy that produces less watts per dollar, less reliability. Everything's worse. Everything's worse about it, but it's the theme, okay? And you follow the money. Like one of the reasons I talk about defense contractors is you look at like the situation in Ukraine right now. Billions and billions of dollars flowing to defense contractors, missile builders, ammunition companies, all of these things. They're all Raytheons, all of these things, they're moving higher. And the nice thing, as much as I, again, rant about this, like the nice thing is if your tax dollars are going to these causes that you may or may not necessarily support, if you can trade them, you can make back that money. You can basically make back the money that the government stole from you to fund things that you don't agree with, to actually fund your income, to fund your account. And that's a lot of what green energy is right now. Now, I think we will eventually figure it out. Like, I'm a big technology guy. We're just really early. It's kind of like the beginning of the telephone networks or the TV networks or the beginning of the PC or the beginning of the internet. I wish that simply free markets were able to drive it, but government money does speed things up because there's an incentive to try new things and, try big and fail big. That's kind of that Google model. So in summary, how do you trade these things? You look for the hype, man. You look when everybody in Congress is talking about we need more green energy, we need more EVs, we need more batteries. When you see it across the mainstream media, many of you know I'm not a big fan, but I just scan headlines. Like what are the most headlines? Like what are they trying to pump? Okay, what are they pumping? What narrative are they trying to push? And if it's stock related, if it's again whether it be EVs or weed, weed right now in the news every single day because of the Senate banking regulations. Then I start looking. Then I take that idea. So I use those media sources. That and the yapping that goes on out there and the hype. So I take that information and then I start running my scans, looking for unusual volume, looking for breakout charts that we look for, looking for the chart patterns and the thesis that we look for. Okay, so now I go from a big picture idea and I filter that down to a scan, which gives me a small basket of stocks typically, say 5 to 10 stocks that are trading unusual volume that have the chart pattern we look for. So now I went from 20,000 stocks in the market to maybe 1,000 green energy stocks down to 15 or 20 that are trading unusual volume. Then I can run them through the rest of the process looking for catalysts. Okay, that's the big thing. Like there's going to be a good chance that probably half of them are running on no news. I'm going to look to trade the stocks that are trading on news with a catalyst. Then I'm going to filter that down to the lowest float stocks with float rotation. And typically as you filter through that process, you're going to get down to the point where you're going to have probably 1 to 3 stocks. And this goes for any sector, but particularly green energy. So now I can actually trade 1 to 3 stocks. I can't trade 20,000 stocks. I can't trade 2,000 stocks. And then some of you might be saying, well, hey, 1 to 3, I'm under the PDT. Maybe that's still too many. Well, then what happens is, most of the time you're going to have like maybe a true penny stock and you're going to have a $5 stock and one of them might be $150. So you got a small account, you forget about the $150 stock, and then you just look to trade 2 stocks, whichever one follows the patterns. And I know it's probably very oversimplified for the sake of this video, but that's really the process that we follow every day. We look for a theme, we look for manias. Remember, write this down. As a short-term trader, whether it be day trading or swing trading, you're trading human emotion, okay? That's why we start out with that big picture idea. Where is everyone seeing the next big thing? Whether they're right or wrong, we don't care. We're trading the momentum. Next big thing, big overarching idea. Run that overarching idea through a sector scan to then give us a small batch of stocks, and then we filter it down through the rest of the process to find that 1, maybe 2 stocks. So if you're struggling to do that, like if you got too many stocks, too many on watch, you don't even know how to spot green energy stocks, you don't know how to filter from 20,000 down to 1 or 2, that's what we do every single day in the Daily Income Trader system. You can click a link below, takes you to a free webinar where we demo that system, okay? Free webinar, multiple times a day, morning, midday, night, even on weekends, and 100% live. So it's not like you're watching a webinar from 2 weeks ago and now green energy stocks are over. And you're like watching this and you're like, whoa, I'm all excited. Meanwhile, you missed it because you're watching a 2-week-old webinar. These are live every single day, okay, every day, multiple times a day, showing you the system, doing exactly what I talked about. So if that sounds appealing to you, 100% free. Click that link and join the next webinar.